Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nuge, but this isn't just another edition of the Nightly Nuge. Ted, you have someone with you, a very special guest. Tell our listeners who you've got there.
Well, you know, Keith, I celebrate truth, logic, and common sense and this we the people independent spirit, attitude, and energy on every Nightly Nuge. In fact, in everything I do. And I am so honored that Dr. Mehmet Oz would travel all the way from Pennsylvania to visit the Nugent tribe here to get that truth, logic, common sense, God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandment, Golden Rule, that man in the arena work ethic that created the greatest quality of life in the history of mankind. Dr. Oz, welcome to the freedom-drenched man cave cuckoo's nest and the Nightly Nuge. Thank you for doing this.
I just followed the Let's Go Brandon signs all the way down.
Yes, there were a lot of them.
Straight in here.
But you know, Keith, the reason that Dr. Oz is here with us today, because he has heard, because he pays attention, and this is an experiment in self-government after all, it includes doctors and guitar players, he heard that Ted Nugent cares. And the only reason that I put myself forward into this outrageous lion's den of political insanity is because I deeply care. I see how this shining city on the hill has turned into feces and needles and high crime and worrying about children's sexuality in kindergarten and so many atrocities that are plaguing this American dream. And Dr. Oz is running for U.S. Senate in the great Keystone state of Pennsylvania. And I know Pennsylvania. And there's been a lot of lies about me over the years. And I want to help someone who clings tenaciously and absolutely to those conservative values of God, family, country, law, and order. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, because I've got a lot of pushback. Well, Dr. Oz is against the Second Amendment. Dr. Oz wants to teach kindergartners about transgender. No, those are lies. And I wanted to hear it right from Dr. Oz's mouth. So today on the Nightly Nuge, let's just put the perfection of the Second Amendment to rest, shall we? What is your belief about keeping and bearing arms?
First of all, I love you.
I love you back.
And you're a mentor, and you've shared insights, ways of thinking about our God-given rights, including Second Amendment, that we can't abdicate. So let's talk about Second Amendment, but I'm going to go through them all, if you don't mind.
Please, let's do it.
I'm a life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness person. So let's start with life, which as a doctor...
You're my blood brother.
God bless. So I phrase it, it's about faith, family, right? Some food, and then have fun with it.
We've talked those exact terms on Nightly Nuge.
It takes a lot of brave patriots saying what they see for America to get back on its path, and you're doing that. So let's go through these three issues of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Life starts at conception. It goes through childhood. Protect the kids. Don't expose them to things they're not ready to. We don't...
Family.
Well,
Mom and dad, if you can.
Their values that they give you are the most essential ones, and you don't want anything perverting that. And as Ben Carson, very wise, who's been a big supporter, says, do you teach 5-year-olds calculus? No. Why don't you teach them calculus? They're not ready. So if you start talking about gender issues and they're not ready to hear it, it gets misinterpreted. 85% of kids who tell you that they're transgender will go back to the gender they're supposed to be.
They don't know yet.
They don't, of course not. The brain is a complicated place. Why would you think a teacher should be intervening in this issue, or a social worker? It should be the parents loving them. Anyway, move them to education, teach them the right things, how to make a living, how to pair bond, how to have kids. We don't have enough kids in America. As a doctor, I care a lot about healthcare. Become the world expert on your body. That's life. Liberty. The First Amendment, it's first for a reason. Second Amendment is to protect the First Amendment, something you told me I've never forgotten. That's really important. It's conceptually acknowledging we don't have a license for our First Amendment, right? Why would we have a license or want anyone to give it to us or expect anyone to give us a license for our Second Amendment? And with liberty also comes individualism. I should be free to be who I want to be. Get out of my way. There's no reason why I would expect any other individual to intervene in who I want to be as an American. That's why our country's special.
The great documents that identify America, and again, I say Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, those are absolutisms. Yeah. That's where goodwill and decency and reaching out and helping your fellow man because you're taking good care of yourself, both health-wise, financially, prioritization, maybe farming, ranching, so you know where your food comes from. The stronger we are as individuals, the better equipped we are and prepared and capable to reach out and help those in need. So what you're talking about, and I know it sometimes we go to bed at night and I go, why did I even have to say that? It's such self-evident truth, but we are at a high point, or shall I say a low point, of a culture war that has turned into a spiritual war. And Mehmet and I have had long talks, and your articulation to me and here on the Nightly Nuge, it defines the buddies I share hunting camps with. Guys down at the barbecue, down at the shooting range, at the feed mill this morning. My neighbors who get up early and they put up and they are part of this pain in the ass rush hour every day. But those are the sacrifices and risks that individuals who know that their efforts and cultivation of talents will be represented by compensation, capitalism, for being the best that we can be. And so you've proven that. You had this incredible TV show, but you've always focused on, if you care about your own health, you might not have to squawk about someone else covering your health care. I've said that for over 50 years, and that kind of encapsulates the Dr. Oz show. You need to start caring about yourself, what goes into your sacred temple. When I was raised, I was told this was my sacred temple. Right. What are you putting into it? So I've been clean and sober. No drugs, no tobacco, no alcohol. Well, I have a little red wine. And I do. I did. Guy gave me some Cuban cigars in case we shoot my machine guns. This Sergeant Rock thing happens. Gosh. But my point is, clean and sober, conscientious diet, active outdoor lifestyle. That's where Dr. Oz comes from.
My whole career, from when I started doing heart surgery, was looking at people who didn't realize what you're saying was true. In fact, my wife, Lisa, who's sitting in the back room gossiping with Shemaine about us probably, but she go out and defend herself.
Boy, they're the goddesses of individual health responsibility.
And they raise their kids that way because they're supposed to, right? They're mama bears. But I was always being pushed by Lisa saying the reason America doesn't understand how much control they have over their bodies is we never gave it to you as doctors. So the whole purpose of the Dr. Oz show was to push back on organized medicine. Say, guys, hold a second. Just because it's got a high price tag doesn't mean it's good.
Big Pharma, pushing back against Big Pharma.
Well, I went to war with Big Pharma, and they pulled their advertising. They came back eventually because I was the #1 health show in the world.
The Ted Nugent of the doctor world.
But also agrochemical companies. I pushed back against big tech because they were censoring people, and they were also crazily trading children. I don't know if you know this, but Backpage.com, which is not far from here, they were based in Austin, I think. They were allowed to sex traffic because there's something called Section 230 that protects internet companies, written in 1996, and it was designed to make sure that fax machines, we thought they were fax machines, whatever paper comes out of a fax machine is not the fault of the fax machine maker. But internet companies are not fax machines, yet they were treated legally as that. And we went after this because there were court cases where kids could not get their names off these internet sex sites. And finally, after a lot of pressure, Congress made a little sliver in 230. Little tiny opening that said, okay, you know what, just those things go away. But there are more lobbyists in Washington from the big tech companies than there are members of Congress. So my goal of going into the Senate, and that's where I'm running for the Senate, everybody, in Pennsylvania, is to ensure that someone with a bold, loud voice makes us think about this and doesn't just walk into the knife fight culture wars with an index card, which is what Republicans do over and over again. This is not about a small little change in tax code. This is about taking back American culture. So our educational institutions, where much of this germinates, our government, big industry, the leadership of our biggest banks and media companies, they're not all singing off the same hymnal because that's a totalitarian state. We have to make sure there are values represented there. And if you're really a patriotic, loving American, you need to say what you see. And what I'm articulating right now, you can't say in most places outside of your program.
Well, and by the way, Keith, I know that what Dr. Oz is representing here, and I've invited him into my home because, again, I care. I do the most diligent, intense research I can before I endorse somebody, but I have come out and I have endorsed Dr. Oz. And some other very influential politicos, shall we say, have followed my lead. And I'd like to just announce here that we're going to hold off on airing the Nightly Nuge tonight on this Monday night, because Dr. Oz will be joining Sean Hannity on the Fox News Channel, making his announcement that he is running for U.S. Senate in, well, everybody knows he's running for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania, but tonight, I think a very influential young man has followed my lead and endorsed Dr. Oz. President Donald Trump, who I dearly love and respect, has now endorsed Dr. Oz. And Keith, you know that you take a chance endorsing someone because it's impossible to know everything. So if all my friends who celebrate truth, logic, and common sense on the Nightly Nuge, Dr. Oz will join us each night this week. And this is an opening volley to let you know that I try my best. I believe in this man. I believe that he represents the quality core values that makes the Nugent family have a great American dream, that has everybody have an American dream. And we're going to have Dr. Oz on the Nightly Nuge Monday tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, I'll unleash some guitar licks that are just awesome. You know why America's not producing enough children yet? Because not enough people listen to my songs. If they would listen to my songs,
like fertility gestures.
I'm telling you, the butter fat and the dairy farms go up, and people get more stimulated, shall we say? So, Keith, thank you once again for being part of this Truth, Logic, and Common Sense celebration, because every night this week, we're going to be joined by Dr. Oz to let the people of America, and most importantly, those great working hard families in the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, know that they need a real absolutist conservative that will upgrade what is I've witnessed in my lifetime, learning to shoot groundhogs in the eyeball with my Remington Target Master 22 bolt action single shot with 22 shorts. My dad taught me to aim small, miss small. I know Pennsylvania. I am Pennsylvania. I know the core values of those hunting, fishing, trapping, farming, ranching, hardworking entrepreneurs, those people that get up early every day to be the best that they can be. I'm here to tell you, my name is Ted Nugent, and Dr. Oz represents that spirit. So be sure you stay tuned each day this week, because we're going to dig into the deep, deep soul of Dr. Mehmet Oz so that he can represent those core values in the great state of Pennsylvania.
Doctor, congratulations on getting the Donald Trump endorsement. That's quite special, of course. I was doing some reading in Pennsylvania. It looks like there's still about 60% undecided votes in that state in the primary coming up. So there's a lot of questions that people have sent in. Will you be willing to, go through a whole bunch of issues with us the rest of the week?
I'm looking forward to it. I want you doing deep dives into all these topics. Using medical jargon, we'll be using a bunch of it. Do the biopsies, figure out what's real and what's not. Be the world experts in these issues. Don't be chattel. Right, your goal is to learn as much as you can. I can tell you, President Trump kicked the tires. He did a lot of homework to figure out if this was right. And you just mentioned an important statistic. People in Pennsylvania wanted to know what he thought before they decided.
And remember, my name is Ted Nugent. I don't play games. But when Dr. Oz approached me to give my endorsement, I put him through the ringer. I asked every question that I would ask anybody before they joined my hunting camp or joined my band or joined my inner circle. So thank you, everybody, for listening to us and giving Dr. Oz a shot, because he's a heart surgeon. And did you know that we have a lot that connects us? But I also did a heart surgery on a Sika doe last night with a razor-sharp broadhead, and it was a success.
Oh, my goodness. I want to see the video.
Well, if you're an undecided voter in Pennsylvania, or if maybe you've already made up your mind, but you're open-minded in the end, or wherever you are in the country, if you come back tomorrow night and every night this week on the Nightly Nuge, we've got some really pointed questions we're going to ask Dr. Oz. Obviously, he's won the endorsement of Ted Nugent and President Donald Trump. The question is he going to get your endorsement, which is the key issue we're going to face this week. So come back again tomorrow night. We're going to have another special edition of the Nightly Dr. Oz. Oh, sorry, Ted. The Nightly.
This week is the Nightly Dr. Oz and Dr. Odds.